Don Fry, the insurance guy. Thank you for watching. Here we are talking about the monthly market update, kind of what's going on locally in the Hancock County or the Northwest Ohio area as far as the real estate market. You watch the news, you read articles. It seems like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. So we are here to talk with a local professional, Cheryl Sterling, with Coldwell Banker Flag City, and get her expertise on the market and kind of update us a little bit about herself. So Cheryl, thanks for coming on and appreciate your time.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm Cheryl Sterling with Coldwell Banker Flag City. We just recently in November joined a national franchise. We were Flag City Realtors for about 3.5 years, and then we joined with Coldwell Banker. Just gives us a lot more tools that we can use versus being an independent. When you're with a national franchise, you have access to just a lot more stuff, so it's been good. It's been very seamless. There has not been any negative or anything like that. So that part's all good. Yeah, so I've been selling real estate for 26 years here in Findlay, no place else.
Awesome.
I'm a native. I've been here all my life. So I won't tell you how many years that is because you'll know how old I am. But yeah, so obviously we've seen many, many cycles in real estate. I mean, we've had years like back in 2008 through 10 where you had the market crash, and we had sellers that were upside down. It was very hard to sell homes. A lot of bank foreclosures, a lot of sheriff's auctions. I can remember when I would go out with the sheriff, we were doing maybe 20 or 30 a week, not a month, a week. Now if I get called to go, we might have 5 a month. And that's all of like the Hancock area. So yeah, so the market's gone through a lot of different changes. Obviously, when COVID came in 2020, I personally thought the market's going to die. I mean, it was crickets for January and February.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing anything. It's like they're staying in their home with their mask on. And by March, it was just a weird phenomenon. And here in Findlay, especially, people were like, forget this. We're going to go on with life. And 2020, if you have paid any attention at all to real estate, and 2021 were just crazy. We have had low inventory now this is going into our 4th year. So that made it a seller's market. So in those 2 years, we were having properties hit the market and they were selling within hours or a day, and multiple offers. Anywhere from 5 to 15 offers on one property in one day. It was a feeding frenzy.
Yeah,
it
good
really
time
was.
To sell.
It was a wonderful time to sell. And even on the flip side of that, it was funny because we saw an influx of realtors wanting to get into the business thinking, oh, well, this is easy. You put a house on the market and 15 people want to buy it. Now in 2023, they're realizing you have to go back to work as a realtor and have to be creative in selling homes, etc. Yeah, so it's been very different. Even 2023 from last year, once the interest rates started going up, and they went up rapidly. I don't think we've ever seen them go up that fast in history. So yeah, it was like, every month they're going up 0.5% or 0.25% or whatever. So when we were at like 2.75 or 3%, now today, I think when I looked, it was about 6.75% for a 30-year. I think you can get a 15, maybe a little bit cheaper than that. But they had gone up over 7. So when you're, as a buyer, let me tell you what that means to you.
Okay.
I'm looking for a $400,000 house because the interest rate's 3%, and money's cheap. I can afford $400,000. Now the interest rate's 6.5%, 7%. Guess what I can afford? $200,000.
Wow. So it
Big
takes
difference.
Off like $100,000.
Well, it cuts it in half.
Wow.
Because your interest rate has doubled. So once you've looked at a Rolls Royce, you don't really want to go buy a Volkswagen. Same way with houses. Once you've been looking at $400,000 homes, and now you can only afford $200,000, it's very discouraging. And honestly, I've seen more just like first-time home buyers that have been kind of waylaid by the interest rates. They're just like, we're hopping out of the market right now because we can't afford what we once could and what we want. So that's kind of where we're at now. Now they've come down now. When I looked, I think today, the 30-year is like a 6.75. I think you can get a 15-year maybe about 0.25% cheaper than that. And they do have really cool programs right now I can tell you about.
Yeah.
Some of the banks here in Findlay are offering what they call a buy down. Have you ever heard of that?
I think I have, but yeah, explain a little
Yeah.
bit for the viewers.
So the buy downs are, we used to be able to say to a buyer, okay, you want to buy this house. Let's ask the seller to help you out with closing costs, $2, $3, $4, $5,000, whatever. Now we're able to take that money that, as we call a seller concession, we're able to take those monies and we can do a buy down. So if the interest rate is 6.75 right now, if we do a 2-1 buy down, your first year you're going to be at 4.75%, which gets you into your house. Maybe you expect, you're going to get some pay raises or job situation is going to change.
Yeah.
The second year is going to go to 5.75. So you get till that third year till where it's going to level out at the 6.75. So
awesome.
that does help buyers out. Yeah, that's a big push right now. So
yeah, that's great. I mean, that's helpful advice to know. Like you said, if financial changes are going to make a difference,
yeah,
that give that 2 years of flexibility and leeway before moving in. Obviously, as you mentioned, you have lots of experience, being able to go through, 2008 and that crash.
Oh,
now
boy,
going through COVID and this and similarities, differences. So that's awesome to hear of that experience and just the wisdom and knowledge that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you get drugged through a lot of different markets, and some of them have been great years, and I got licensed in 97, 6, I think. I don't remember. It's been too long. 97, I think.
You don't want to know what year I was born, Cheryl.
Stop it. That's so rude. No,
95.
Oh my goodness. Boy, that makes me feel old. So let's talk a little bit about the market right now, because people ask me all the time, what's going on with the market? It seems sluggish. Well, again, part of that is because of the interest rates, where the interest rates are higher still, and it has sidelined some people, and some people just because inventory is historically low. That is not just in Findlay, Ohio. I can show you Florida, I can show you California, I can show you North Carolina, where they're normally in their inventory. I mean, when I first got into real estate, I think a norm was maybe anywhere from 200 to 400 houses that we would have on the market at one time. Now those houses are constantly turning over. You sell some, new ones come on. It's still doing the same thing. It just looks really barren. When I pulled data today, we have 50 active listings here in Findlay. When I just put in Findlay, and that I'm only pulling single family homes and condos, because I'm not pulling mobile homes or commercial properties. So 50 active listings. Now that's not a lot, but when I look at what's offer pending or contingent, you may have heard that term before, there's 72. And then when I look in the past month, in the last 30 days, we've had 40 houses sell. So yes, 50 sounds low, but you got 72 under contract. You've got 40 that just sold. So it's still doing this.
Yeah, that's good to see. I mean, it is still revolving.
It's still going. It's still going. I mean, I've had 9 closings since January. So that's good. I mean, that's a very robust, that's kind of as well as I did in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody's that busy, but I think when you've been doing this a long time and you have repeat customers and referrals and all that helps. Yeah. But that's kind of where the market is today. But like I said, that is nationwide. I think you could go to any market and they'll tell you our inventory is low. So what that means is it's still a seller's market. Even though the interest rates are high, it's still a seller's market because we still have less houses than we have buyers. So buyers are out there still looking, for a house, and we have limited homes to show them. Yeah. So that's kind of where the market is at right now.
Fair. But as a buyer, it is, I think we had talked about this a little bit before, I guess, jumping on it. It's encouraging. You said there are less offers. You mentioned before about COVID, there was like 8 to 10 offers, 15 within 24 hours. So, I guess as a buyer, like how, that's one encouraging thing for them to know.
Yeah, it is.
There are less offers on those houses.
Yeah, there's less competition. Like I said, some buyers have kind of just went to the sidelines and just said, we're going to wait and see. It's too crazy right now. Not enough homes, interest rates too high, whatever. But yes, we will still occasionally get a house that will get multiple offers. Now, what I mean by multiple now is 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But the sellers, for the most part, are not demanding or even expecting over ask price like they were in the past, 2020, 2021. It was almost assumed you put it on the market at this price and you're going to get over ask. So that's not happening as much here.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the rest of the country, but I would assume they're probably experiencing a lot of the same things, too. But yeah, so that does help the buyer a little bit. They have less competition, and which means they have a little more time to take their time and make a decision. I mean, in 2020, I would tell people, look, you want this house, write an offer now. And I'm not a pushy salesperson, but if they didn't, they weren't going to get it. You can't sleep on it and think about it or have time to, well, I want to bring mom and dad through tomorrow. It'll be gone.
Yeah.
Now you have a little more time. You can do that. There are some homes that have been sitting a little bit. There are other homes that hit the market and go like that. So it just depends on who's out there looking and what they're looking for.
Fair enough. So it sounds like though there is some encouragement still on both sides.
Oh yeah.
As a buyer and seller, it's not the gloom and doom.
We're not in like
appears.
2008 where people are selling their homes for less than they owe on them and everybody's upside down and it's fire sales. We're not there at all. It still is a seller's market, but the sellers are a little more realistic now and realizing. And let me just say this, because I've had people say, "Oh, well, I've lost so much value in my home now compared to 2020. I could have sold my house for this." You didn't really lose that value. Your value now is just more what it should be, not the overinflated what someone was willing to pay for it in those 2 years, in 2020 and 2021. So I want people to understand that they don't think, oh, I could have got, $450 for my house 2 years ago. Yep. And now I can only get $400. That doesn't mean your house has lost value. That just means that the prices aren't, the over, inflated prices have kind of gone away a little bit.
Just the market has stabilized.
The market has stabilized. What we're seeing is more a normal. This is more of what a normal market is. That's why I'm saying those realtors that hopped in thinking this is just easy, easy. Anybody could do this in their sleep. They're now realizing you do have to work and we have to be creative to get properties sold and to get your buyers, a good deal too.
Yeah. Yep. But that's, it's awesome, encouraging here for you personally that, you've been busy because like you said, there are an influx of realtors and now starting to kind of weed through those a little bit. And those vets and those that have the experience and those that are good at their jobs are the ones that are likely the ones staying busy.
Yeah. And we've had a couple new girls that have joined our office and, I've told them both, anything I can do to help you, kind of navigate these waters, because this is just really different, really something we haven't seen before. But like I said, it's getting more to a normal of what it was. The only thing that isn't the normal is the interest rates. But I will tell you, historically, the interest rates are still, this is cheap money, at 6.75. My first mortgage back in 1990, I think, was 12%. And I thought that was great. And then the interest rates started coming down about every year. And then when they got to 5%, I thought, oh my gosh, we'll never see money cheaper than this. So so historically 6 3/4 is not high. It's just, we got spoiled for about 10 years. They were down in the 2s and 3s and, high 3s or whatever. And so people got used to that. People like you don't even remember when they were high.
No.
Yeah. See.
Oh, yeah.
No. That's another obstacle we have to overcome is people that are like your age, your demographic. They're just like, what? 6%? Never heard of such a thing. Right. They're used to, for 10 years, they've been, around the 3s. And so people don't really know how to react to that. So we're trying to, educate people and make them realize that that's not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
you touched on it a little bit. I guess let's kind of talk a little bit about your office in the Coldwell Bank, Flag City. You mentioned about, going to the national brand and kind of as the, I'm sure on both sides, buyer and seller, there's some added tools for their benefit as well. Community wise, I guess, like if you can just pick a couple items, like what do you guys do for the community? How do you give back to the community or involved here in Hancock County?
I think, and not to toot our own horn, but I think honestly, the agents that are in our office, every one of them has different community organizations that they're involved in and are passionate about. I know our broker, I think last year was his last year being president of Kiwanis. One of the other girls in our office is in Kiwanis. I have done a ton with City Mission and Hope House. Our office as a team, I think 3 years in a row, we did one of the habitat builds.
Yeah.
And our broker sponsored one of the builds, and so we went out and we worked there. The women,
Awesome.
the girls, we went out and did a women's build, and
Nice.
that was fun to do too. So yeah, just any way that we can find to give back to the community, we like to do that. We have been very, very fortunate. Findlay is a wonderful little city. I know, what are we now, the cosmopolitan or whatever for the 9th year in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've been very blessed to live in a very family friendly community. And, any way that we can to, I mean, another thing I know a couple of us are very involved in is Honor Flight. I don't know if you're familiar with
I
Honor
am
Flight.
not. No. What's Honor Flight?
Oh my goodness. Now we got to
Give us
get
a
you
30-second.
educated. Okay. So Honor Flight is a program that what they do is they take veterans and they fly them to Washington, D.C. for the day. It's an early morning. They're up at like 4 in the morning. They meet out here at the Cube, and then they're bused to Toledo. And then from Toledo, they fly to D.C. And they get to see all the memorials that are in their name. They feed them. They have mail call on the plane, so these veterans, like they did when they were in the service, get mail from family and friends talking about their day. And
Cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. And they started, I think last year we only had like maybe 2 or 3 World War II. They're starting to get the late 90s, 100 years old. So there's not many around anymore. And so that they make those their priority. And from there, they go down to like the Korean War and then Vietnam War. And now they're starting to do some of the Iraqi Desert Storm.
Wow.
So it's a day that's just dedicated to these veterans. I've had many men who especially were in the Vietnam War, and if you guys are older than Dom, you'll remember this. But when they came back from Vietnam, they were not respected here and they were not welcome. They were spit on, they were called baby burners. I mean, all this kind of crazy stuff. This is the thank you that they never got. And they have just lines of people on each side of the aisle with signs and flags and balloons and just saying, welcome home. Thank you for your service. Honor Flight is amazing. So that's my plug. It has nothing to do with houses, but very passionate. My dad was in the Air Force. I had 2 brothers that were in the Air Force, and my oldest brother was honored to be able to take my dad as a guardian and take him to DC before he passed. My dad was a Korean War vet.
Wow.
So it's an amazing program. If you don't know about it, look it up, get involved. It's amazing. So yeah, Honor Flight, Habitat, anything that has to do with homes, we pretty much are housing, so
Fair
City
enough.
Mission, Hope House, Habitat, we try and give back to those organizations, especially because they help house our people here in Findlay that are down on their luck or need a hand, like I say, not a hand out, a hand up. And so it's, we're all very passionate about different things like that. So
that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for the insight on Honor Flight. I was not aware of that, but it sounds like an awesome.
Yeah, you can edit out anything you need if I talk too long.
Not at
but
all.
I am very passionate about Honor Flight. And even if you don't want to go as a guardian, I'll just give you a little clip here. We do fundraisers throughout the years so that the veterans, they don't pay anything to go. They go for free. As a guardian, you have to pay $500 to go. But if you can't go as a guardian, when they take off from Toledo and when they land, it's usually about 11 o'clock at night, maybe 10 o'clock at night. Go be part of that welcoming home. It will get you in the feels. I mean, these guys don't expect that. They think their day's done when they get to Toledo and when they walk in that hangar and there's all these people and they have bands playing their theme songs from the different, branches. It's really pretty cool. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, if you check it out one time, you'd be hooked. I think.
Yes, that is awesome. No, that's cool. I'll definitely look into it more myself.
Yeah,
that sounds like an organization I'd love to be a part of in any way that I can.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
So sorry, I got off the housing topic.
No, that was good. I was the one who asked about the community involvement. What you guys do is that is an awesome organization for myself. Anyone else to get involved with.
Yeah.
So Cheryl, thank you.
Thank you, Dom. I appreciate it.
I guess if anyone wants to contact you, what is your best contact info? Email?
Best contact for me is just my cell phone number. Text or call 419-722-8991. And then if you wanted to do email, it's Cheryl with a C .Sterling@coldwellbanker.com. So that's probably the best way. Or you can find me on the Facebook just under Cheryl Sterling. And,
you're out there.
I'm out there. Out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you so much, Tom. It's been fun.